Are you missing out on some of the best surfs of your life because you have the wrong set of fins in your board? Despite what a lot of websites say, there may not be an all-in-one set of fins that will work in every condition. However, the 8 sets of hybrid twin fins I'm going to be reviewing in today's video do have a particularly large sweet spot, and each one has something unique about it that makes it special. Turns out I really love twin fins, and I've been riding every possible twin fin combination I can get my hands on. Almost all the boards behind me are twin fins. It's what I ride every day. I just love them. But some of the fins are better than others, and my job is to bring the best set of fins to your attention and to match it to the right type of twin fin that you're riding. I'll be sharing with you which fin I would buy for which board and which one's my absolute favorite. First up is the BMT Brit Merrick Twin. This is a Channel Islands branded fin. It's made by Futures, and it was designed for the twin pin. Now, if you had the earlier version of the Brit Merrick Channel Islands fin made by Channel Islands, you might think, gosh, that looks familiar. When I lay them up beside each other, to my eye, they're pretty much identical. So if you already have this fin, you don't need the BMT. But chances are this BMT is going to be in almost every shop. It is a stiff fin. It is a fin that will work on a huge variety of boards. It's a really versatile fin. It costs about $174 in Australia, or 110 US dollars. It weighs in at 276 grams because it's solid glass. So it's a fairly heavy fin, which means it's going to suit someone who's medium or heavy rider, or it will be okay for a light rider on a fairly heavy board in small to medium conditions. But it could perhaps be too much fin for a very small rider. It has a 6.5 degree cant, which means that it's out fairly wide, so watch your heels when you're sitting on the board. It has a flat foil and it's 23.58 square inches, so it has a fair amount of surface area. It's up there with some of the small keels, and it's certainly a lot more than an upright twin fin. One of the things that's unique about this fin is that it's probably one of the most available fins. I'm going to be showing you some fins that are harder to get, but this is highly available and it will work in almost any hybrid board. It's particularly good in twin pins because that's what it was designed for. You could have it in a swallowtail if you're a smaller rider, but generally you want to be going up to a keel. I'm going to show you the board that this goes best in of all of these boards. I'm actually going to put it in my Amano twin pin. Now I know I've got Amano twin fins, but this board I ordered extra thick. It is a double stringer. It's 6'6" by 21.5 and 2 7/8. It does not have channels, so it loves that extra drive of these fins. It is so fast, an absolute favorite in the Maldives. It got me one of the fastest waves I've ever caught. These fins just grunt down the line, and remember they were designed for Channel Islands twin pin, but I think this hand-shaped Amano is something special. And this is a heavy board with those double stringers, so it wants a good sized fin. What a combination, an absolute speed machine. If you've seen any of my other fin videos, then you've probably heard me talk about this Captain Fin Co. Chris Christensen honeycomb hybrid keel. This is an amazing keel. One thing that's special about this keel is that it's set a fair way forward. You can see that the fin starts before the single tab here, and that means that it's going to give you more pivot. This, also being in honeycomb construction, is light. It's only 204 grams, which makes it the lightest fin set that I'm going to show you today. That also means that it's highly responsive. It's going to suit a smaller rider or riding this in small to medium conditions for a heavy rider. They cost about 140 Australian dollars or 92 US dollars, and I think this is a great fin to have in the quiver. Interestingly, it's only a 5 degree cant, so these fins are more upright than some of the others, which are 6.5. A lot of them are 6.5. This is only 5, and I think that gives it that straight line speed. It really is a fast fin. I've had some good speeds with this fin. It has plenty of surface area as well. Has 24.18 square inches of area, so it's got a good amount of fin, lots of drive. I'm pairing the Chris Christensen's with a Mitch Sermon 6'6" dark void channel bottom egg. This board has a wide space between the fins because the twins are fairway back but on a rounded tail, and this board absolutely flies. Very fast, very responsive. The tail on this board is fairly thin as well, so you get really good feedback from those honeycomb fins, and it's such a pleasant, easy to surf board in this combo. These were by far the best fins for this board. Also love this in the Maldives. Here's another Captain Finco, and it is the Mikey February. I don't know what's going on with this fin, but I feel like they're running it out or something because it's on special right now and it is so cheap. This fin is a must get. Now, it is a heavy, solid fiberglass fin and it has plenty of surface area. This is the largest fin I'm going to share with you. It's almost bordering on the keel fin, but it's not quite. It's 25.99 square inches. So you're going to get a lot of drive from this, and it's going to suit a wider tail or a heavier board or a heavier rider. This is also one of those 5-degree cant fins, so it does not stick out as wide. I think that contributes to its speed. It's a straight line speed machine. With these fins, I've actually caught the fastest wave I've ever caught. I'll share with you the board that was on in just a moment. This is the second heaviest fin I'm going to share with you. It's 309 grams, so it's a pretty hefty unit, but it's also a big surface area. And at the price, it's really good to have in the quiver. It's on sale right now, at the time I'm making this video, $119 in Australia and $52 in the US on their website. So something's going on, but this is a bargain. $52 US for a brand new fin set. You would pay more on Marketplace generally. All right, so the Mikey Februaries, I'm going to put them in the 8'2" Album Moonstone, which has got channels, so it has plenty of hold. That's why I don't need a full keel. It is a very long board with a lot of rail, so I don't need too much fin, but I want more fin than just uprights because I want the grunt and the speed that comes from these. Using these fins on this board, I've clocked 42 kilometers an hour. It is absolutely unbelievable. Look at that nice wide area here with a diamond tail channel bottom. This is 8'2" of incredible board. You can see that those fins have placed a fairway forward. You may remember this board from my Mikado twin review. Well, these fins are just that little bit heavier and just a little bit quicker. I love these fins on this board. Here's a surprise find. I've got onto this brand NVS. It stands for Naked Viking Surf, and it's the ONO keel from the Apex series. What this means is it's made out of G10 fiberglass. It's a smaller surface area than some of the other fins, which means a few things. One is there's less friction, so in good waves, these could be your friend. It gives you control without generating too much speed. Also, being G10, it doesn't need to be as big. They come a little bit thinner. You'll notice that it's slightly thinner than some of the other fins because they can get the stiffness they need without being as thick. So it just slides through the water so well. It is a super versatile fin. They really aim to bring fins to the market at a reasonable cost. 135 Australian dollars or 90 US dollars makes this fin pretty good value. It's 260 grams, so it's not too heavy as you'd expect, being this size. It runs a 6.5-degree cant, so it's got that good angle. It's going to work really well on your retro fish and on a longer pintail. I feel like this is well suited to a small to medium rider or a larger rider on bigger days. It really has that stiffness, so it's got so much control. This was one of my absolute top fins on a Maldives trip I went on. I'm pairing them with the Campbell Design Mid-Mod 6'9", 21x3. This is an EPS board, so it's a high performance mid-length with a high performance good wave fin. This was an amazing setup in the Maldives. You get that beautifully crafted G10 flex on a stiff and responsive EPS mid-length board, which just loves good waves. This fin is a Mano Surf. It's a performance keel fin. I think it used to be called Glide, but it is handmade in Australia. It is high quality. It's got a beautiful design about it. It's a smaller fin, so this again is going to be good for a smaller rider, medium-sized rider, or a larger rider on a larger board or in good waves. It was designed for pintail twin fins. And this is where you've got to keep in mind, a lot of surfers are actually smaller than me. At 96 kilograms and 6'2", I like the larger fins. So that's why I want to make sure I rounded out some fins for the average size person. This is a good fin for an average size person. On a Maldives trip, I had a friend with a twinsman, and he was riding some uprights, and I said, please try these out. He tried them out. He said, this board is going so much better than I knew it could go. I'm just blown away. And then he bought them from me, and I bought another set when I got back to Australia. So they really will transform a board. If you've been riding uprights and you suspect you need a little more fin, this one is going to be the one. So it's got low drag. It's about 179 Australian dollars, which translates to about $119 US. It's 265 grams, so it's fairly heavy. And I estimate it's about 22 square inches of surface area. So not one of the largest fins, but it's got enough. The Mano Surf fin is magic in this NKA by Eagle Sword, which has channels. So that smaller surface area is a great complement to this board, which has some pretty thin rails, pretty refined rails. It looks magic together. It's like, I've never surfed a board with such a good fin and board combo as this combo. It is amazing. At 22.39 square inches, you've got a similar pair of fins here. This is the Shapers Album MK. And I've got a lot of album boards, so I've tried these in the Sunstone, the Moonstone, the Plasmic, the Light Bender. It's a shorter fin, it's not as tall as some of the others, and it's fairly heavy, it's glass, but it's not a huge surface area, so it's really good again in those smaller, medium-sized rider or in reasonable size waves where you want control and you're not hung up on having too much speed. They're a pretty versatile fin set. About $170 in Australia, or around 113 US dollars. 267 grams puts it in the reasonably heavy category, but it's also a very pretty fin. It's one of the better looking fins. I'm going to put them in an Album Light Bender. This is a 6'4" light bender. The swallowtail on this board is fairly pulled in compared to some of the wider swallowtails I have, like the Sunstone. And this is just a good size fin for this board. It wants more hold for me, being a larger rider, than just an upright fin, which you could use in this board. So it's kind of a halfway between an upright and a keel in a board that is halfway between a retro traditional board and a performance board. It's not as performancey as a Twinsman, but for my ability and for the sweet spot this board provides, this is a great fin for the light bender for most conditions. Here's the Jim Banks hooker. You might have heard of these. Jim Banks is a legend from the Sutherland Shire in Australia. He went over to Bali. He makes those revolutionary boards for the Bali conditions. They go well in really good waves. And one of the boards I have is the Revolution, and it has his Future Form bottom, which is like two huge concaves with a V all the way from front to back. And on that board, a regular set of fins or uprights will just spin out. And I also tried some S-wings on it and they span out. That board has a lot of water flowing off the back. And something like this hooker can tame that board without turning it into a stiff keel style experience. So it has a very long base here. And that's what makes it like a regular keel. You can still get it in and out of the box fine, but it really arcs back and then it's quite skinny at the top for the flex. So this is an unusual fin. where you can get that keel speed and control, but you also have the ability to move around more like an upright. It's a pretty swept back fin. It really suits Jim Banks's shapes. So if you had any kind of board that has an aggressive concave or is spinning out on you, but you don't want to go to full keel, this is the fin to tame it, and you'll get a lot of speed and control. It is a really unusual fin in the way that it is designed. There are a few versions of this type of fin from other manufacturers, but this just suits Jim Banks's board perfectly well. And it's only 21.5 surface area, so it doesn't have as much drag as some of the other fins. I'm putting the hookers with the Jim Banks The Revolution twin pin. This is a future form bottom board. It needs these fins. There's no channels on this board, so there's no sideways grip other than the fins. So this long base is fantastic. I'm just going to show you the bottom of this board. You can see it has a crazy amount of V and deep, deep double concave. Massive. So it really needs, there's a lot of water coming out the sides of this board, and these fins are good for this board. This is a 6'6" twin pin, and it is fast, but it also turns incredibly well. This is a performance fin for a performance twin. This is the most expensive fin I'm going to show you today, and for good reason. It is handmade by Soar Australia. It is G10. This is the natural color. I also have a pair of this in black, which is colored. And it just means that it's very stiff, and it's made of stiff glass. It has a flat foil. It comes in at 311 grams, so this is the heaviest fin. It feels heavy, but boy, it is amazing in good waves. It is so strong and stiff. It just does whatever you ask of it reliably. It has a 6.5 degree cant, which means it's pretty versatile in terms of which boards you can ride it in. A wide tail is still going to be fine, and it turns beautifully well. It has just a lovely shape about it. It's got a little bit of sweep on it. It's got a nice base to it, not too long and not too short, and it's about the right height. Just for my size, I'm a bigger rider, and this fin is incredible. It's also really expensive. It's about $230, but worth every dollar of that. I'm just blown away. In fact, the unique thing about this fin is it works on every board that I've tried it in. This has the biggest sweet spot of any fin. If I could only take one set of fins with me and try it in most of the boards behind me, it's this set of fins. It's got 23.22 square inches of surface area, so it's got plenty of drive. It's a fast fin. I actually put them on the Jim Banks that was spinning out on smaller fins, and it tamed it as well, so it's really an incredible all-rounder. I have them in my binary twin, and of course they come in two colors. That's the natural color and then the black color. I ordered two because I just love this fin so much that I find I want to keep it in my everyday board. This binary twin I've taken up to a local dredging hollow sandy point here. Got some of the waves of my life on this particular board. It's an EPS diamond tail twin with a little channel made by our local heroes, Campbell Design, and it's 6'6". What's cool about this board is it's got a pretty performancey nose. You can see that rocker. And I took this out to a really sucky hollow beach break the other day, and it just goes wherever I point it with these fins. These fins love this board, but they also went really well in the Jim Banks, and I think they're going to go well in just about any board I stick them in. This is my favorite fin right now, and my favorite short board, everyday board. What a combo. Hey, if any of these fins matches the type of board that you surf and you don't already have them or you haven't tried them, go and try a set and see if you can unlock some new surfing experiences that you've never felt before, and let me know how that goes. Also, if there's a different board shape than what I've shown you, then please check out the other video I made showing you which type of fins go with which board shape, because we have not talked about uprights or keels in this video. This is just the in-between zone, that mid-keel zone. where there's so many options and they work in so many boards.